Game day energy starts before the first snap with Chumba Casino. Whether you're killing time before kickoff or celebrating a big touchdown, Chumba Casino brings the thrill of the game right to your browser. Spin the reels, play blackjack, instant scratch-style cards, and more. It's like having a full playbook of fun at your fingertips. Sign up in seconds and score a free welcome bonus. Plus, daily login bonuses each time you return. And here's the extra point. You don't need to make a purchase to get in on the action. So whether you're going for a Hail Mary or just looking for a solid drive of entertainment, Chumba Casino gives you a chance to score some serious prizes without leaving your home turf. It's your move. Start your streak at ChumbaCasino.com today. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Looking for these better days.
It is Football Friday, October 24th. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. It was all Chargers last night on Thursday Night Football as they demolished the Vikings to kick off Week 8 of the NFL season. Let's get to the rest of the schedule for Week 8, at least the Sunday schedule. Jared Smith joins me on this Football Friday episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. And Jared, last night, it was kind of, for me, looking at that game, the end of Carson Wentz as an NFL quarterback. I know he was hurt. I know he's got the brace on his shoulder and his left bicep, and he was clearly not 100%, but he's just not capable of being a starting level NFL quarterback anymore. I thought the Chargers exposed him in many ways last night. And yes, there was that one throw or two throws where, Herb Street's like, hey, you can still make those throws. Nah, bro, like he's not there anymore. He's just not. And the Vikings are not going to be competitive if they have to continue to roll him out there at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair assessment. I think at some point, Kevin O'Connell's going to have to step in and right now what we're seeing with Sam Darnold is maybe it was less O'Connell's tutelage and just a competent quarterback coach. And I think Kyle Shanahan gets a little bit of credit too. For the Sam Darnold rehab project, but he's looked really good in Seattle. And obviously that kind of coaching carries. Sometimes if you're not working with the right clay, right? Darnold was still very young, hadn't had really any good coaching at all. Whereas Carson Wentz was kind of really on the third, fourth, fifth leg of a career that was dealing with injuries and kind of on the out. So just different situations as to why maybe O'Connell can't get the same spark out of Darnold, who is, I think, just in a better position to receive the coaching. Whereas Wentz, again, just kind of on the outs and the injuries and the offensive line. I think you have to put that in perspective as well. But also, the more I watch this Chargers team, that was my first thought last night was watching Chargers. The Chargers look really good. I was like, man, this Colts team, how good are the Colts? Doing what they did to the Chargers a few days ago. So that was kind of my perspective. I always try to frame it that way. Whenever I watch a team look really good, I always try to frame it against a good team that they have faced and maybe a team that they had lost to. And you're like, oh, wow, maybe I need to upgrade that particular team or downgrade that particular team based off of, whatever the performance was.
For sure. Like you can certainly, there has been question marks about this Chargers team over the past couple of weeks for sure. There was the loss to Washington a couple of weeks ago, the loss to the Colts, as you mentioned last week. I thought Joe Alt being back definitely helped them, even though he was not 100% himself, but he still has an impact on that offensive line. This was a game that was, a trench report mismatch, but a lot of that had to do with how the Chargers have looked the past couple of weeks without Joe Alt on their offensive line. Like they and Herbert, the sack numbers had been really, really bad going into this game. And Brian Flores' defense did not take advantage of it. Only 2 sacks. And I thought Herbert used his legs tremendously. And that's been a real big piece for him this season is the way that he is running the football. He had 7 carries for 62 yards last night. His rushing prop was 16 and a half yards. He went over that in one run. He had an 18-yard rush. He went over that number. This is like the new prop that has to be played, I think, every week is looking at Justin Herbert running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll adjust at some point. I think what people don't realize is how good of an athlete he is. Listen, this
Yeah.
Chargers team is the real deal, guys. I mean, I think I think it's just a matter of can they win the big game, but they're going to be in the playoffs. They look like a playoff team. Harbaugh's a good coach. Um, that Colts loss, I think you can really put it in perspective now. I mean, they look bad against Indy, but maybe Indy's really good. Maybe Indy's that good.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Indy is that good. The Vikings, meanwhile, dropped to 3-4. Chargers improved to 5-3, and now both teams will get the nice little break here, having played on Thursday Night Football. Looking ahead to the rest of this Week 8 schedule, Jared, it's tough because a lot of bye weeks, a lot of injuries. We have seen some interesting spreads that I think we will see movement once we get official word of quarterback situations. And that's where we'll start as we're looking at the Sunday Week 8 schedule here of the NFL. All these odds are going to be courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. And let's start with a game that I think is a very sneaky bet for me, at least. Now, I don't know if you're going to talk me off of this, but I'm taking the 6.5 points with the Jets against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a spot where everybody thinks that the Bengals are everything's right with the Bengals, right? Joe Flacco looked great last week. The Bengals are back. Hey, dark horse to make the playoffs. Like the Bengals are going to turn this thing around. Like what's going on now? And the Jets are winless. They're the worst team in the NFL. They're an absolute embarrassment. I fully expect Tyrod Taylor to be the quarterback this week, not Justin Fields. I know that Taylor's been a little bit banged up this week, but I fully expect him to be the starter. And I think once he gets named the starter, this line's going to go down. You're going to see the 6s come up. And we have already seen the 6s come up here in the market. You can still get a 6.5. I'm taking the 6.5 with the Jets here. This is still a Bengals defense that has difficulty stopping the run. I think Breece Hall's going to have a big game here against the Bengals. And this is one of those ugly picks that I'm going to be fading the public here. Give me the Jets plus the 6.5.
Listen, I can't get there with you, bud. I've been hurt. I've been hurt too many times with this Jets team. I will read you my analysis, though. Like objectively speaking, my analysis. This is a great zigzag play, right? You're coming off of a team that's off an outright upset, or a Bengals team. You know, you're fading that in the market, and then you're also playing on a bad Jets loss at home where they were really ugly against Carolina. You got the owner calling out the quarterback. You don't see that too often. And then you did a great job of analyzing the trench report edge. Of course, the Bengals defense has been a sieve all year. They let Aaron Rodgers go up and down. But man, I think trench report aside, I think you have to look at the most important position on the field, the quarterback position. And then you go to no Garrett Wilson. So who is, Tyrod even throwing to? And I just don't think he's as big of a threat with his legs as Fields is. Like, honestly, I think without Wilson, I would rather Justin Fields run read option, 30 or 40 times and just see if you can't break one with Breece Hall at some point. But it just, I think there's a level of hopelessness to this Jets team that when if a play goes against them, I just don't know who's bailing them out. So I agree with the spot. Makes a ton of sense. You cannot lay almost a full touchdown with this Bengals defense. But then I'm like, well, who's punishing this Bengals defense for being poor? And then you look at that quarterback situation. It's really, I'll be honest. I think I want to put the Bengals in the contest.
It's bad.
There's
It
not
really
much
is.
this week. It's not a great week, frankly, for sides. So there's really not much.
And you mentioned Woody Johnson coming out, and we've never seen an owner do this before.
No.
He says, if we could just complete a pass,
That's
then
like
it
something a
changes
Twitter
things.
troll would say about the Jets. It's weird.
But the funniest part was when he said, if you look at our quarterback and you look at his rating, And I know he was talking about like his QBR and his quarterback rating, but remember the story came out last year that Woody Johnson answers to his kids who talk about the Madden ratings, or his grandkids that talk about the
Oh
Madden
yeah,
ratings. So when he was like, "Well, you look at a quarterback who has a rating like ours," and I'm just like, "Is he talking about Madden ratings again?"
he might be. He very, very well might be. Listen,
What
guys,
a disaster!
this Jets team is absolutely hopeless. They are absolutely hopeless. Glenn is the worst coach in the league. They have the worst quarterback situation in the league. Are
Mhm.
they probably a little bit undervalued in terms of their true math market price? Yes. But I don't think you can put a price on the level of despair that is on that sidelines every Sunday. And maybe I'm just
Yeah.
speaking as a fan, and it's just I've had enough. But I cannot put my hard-earned dollars on this team anymore. Even if it's the best spot in the world, and it is a good
Yeah.
spot, I can't do it. I can't do it.
It's the fade the public guy in me that wants to back the Jets here in
Yeah,
this
it's the
spot.
it's the contrarian gambler in you. But again, I think sometimes it's okay to push that aside because there's other
Sure.
spots on the board where you can do that this week where you're not betting on the literal 32 out of 32 in the NFL in terms of the quarterback.
Let's move on. The Buffalo Bills, 7.5 point favorites at the Carolina Panthers right now, up on FanDuel. Buffalo returning from the bye. I think this is a tremendous spot for them coming off the bye here, going up against Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. That's if Bryce Young is out. We don't have the official word here, but it's looking more and more like it's going to be Andy Dalton here against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Buffalo's defense scares me, right? 31st in explosive run rate. You would think the Carolina backs, you didn't see much from Hubbard last week. Daddle was much more effective, but they have two good backs. That could be an equalizer here, but then you throw in the Bryce Young injury. If it's Dalton, this number moves I would say it moves at least a point or two. I think Bryce has at least established himself now as a start, a legit starting, a
You don't
legit
think
starting quarterback in the NFL.
you don't think this line is already baked in that Bryce is not playing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think if Bryce plays, let me look because I want to give you a straight answer based off my personal ratings. Yeah, I'll be honest. I make Carolina like 5. So I think maybe it is bacon that Dalton's
Yeah.
starting. That's fair. That's fair. Um, I just don't know if this Buffalo defense is going to be able to stop the run, and that's why I struggle with laying more than a touchdown with them.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good trench report game for both sides. James Cook should be able to run here against Carolina, and then pick your back. Is it Chuba or is it Rico Dowdle?
No
Both
clue.
of them should
Good
be
luck.
able to run here against the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, it's going to be hard to choose between either one of those guys.
Are the Bills?
Speaking
Let me
of,
ask you a question. Do you think the Bills are a Super Bowl contender right now? Like, would you put them in that tier?
yes, I would. I right.
Because I have them a notch below. I have them in like kind of the maybe a contender tier, but I'm not sure yet.
I think they're clearly below the Chiefs right now. It's not even close
Yeah.
because the Chiefs are healthy
Like,
and
what's your
ascending.
AFC power ratings? Like, I have Kansas City a solid field goal ahead of Buffalo right now.
Yeah, Kansas
Solid
City's
field
number
goal.
one. Kansas
Oh
City's number
yeah.
one,
Oh,
and I think
absolutely.
and I think it's Buffalo two, and I think it's. I mean, is it
Indy.
crazy of
I
me?
think you got to put
Is,
Indy at 3. So
I
here,
was honestly
actually,
I
I
was
was
not.
looking at and Denver too. I was looking at this today. Like in my top 8, I only have 3 AFC teams, and it's barely Indy. I have Kansas City, Buffalo, and then barely Indy. So it's kind of heavy NFC right now at the top of my ratings.
Yeah,
Like I
I
don't
think the
consider Buffalo
Buffalo.
like a top tier. I would say Kansas City, Detroit are my 2 tops.
Okay,
I'd say
I
Buffalo
think
is a
Buff-
step below.
I think they can still get there. I think they can
They
still be
could.
there. They need to be healthy. Because remember, you take Milano out, and those games, the
Yep.
games might work differently, and you could say
Yeah,
that
the
about every team.
defense is why they're not a contender right now. It's not Josh Allen, it's the defense.
Yeah. hmm So we'll see. We'll see what happens when they get healthy. But I think the Chiefs, by far, head and shoulders above them because the Chiefs are
Yeah.
finally healthy and at full strength and are the scariest team to play against right now in the
Yes.
NFL. The Chiefs play on Monday Night Football, so we're not going to focus on the Chiefs game here. But let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens, another maybe AFC contender here. that is playing against the Chicago Bears. This line is Ravens -6.5, and I think this is a situation where it's semi-baked in, Jared, that Lamar Jackson is playing for the Ravens. However, I would jump in on the Ravens -6.5 now, because once it becomes official that Lamar is playing, this line's going up to 7. So I think it's already baked in that Lamar's playing, because if it wasn't, then the Ravens would be like 3.5-point favorites, or 2.5-point favorites over Chicago. So I do think that the market's telling us Lamar's going to play, but we always see this once the information becomes official and the public starts betting these games, the line moves. So I would get in on Ravens -6.5 now before you get an official word that Lamar's starting.
Makes sense. I just think in general, Baltimore's a good play here. I do not trust Caleb Williams. Do not be hoodwinked by last week. The Saints, I think we're kind of seeing like the Saints battled for like 6 weeks, and I think you're starting to see the choo-choo train run out of steam a little bit with New Orleans. And now you get this fresh Baltimore team. Chicago's been itching to give one back. I mean, they've just been fighting some really tough results and overcoming some very fluky results. This feels like Baltimore belt to ass. I think Caleb Williams, who's not accurate with the football, dead last, 34 out of 34 qualifiers in CPOE. What's that? Completion rate over expected. He's just not playing on time within structure. And I think the Ravens defense hasn't been great this year, but this just feels like real Ravens return. And I think Baltimore 2 scores feels pretty solid here. So anything under a touchdown, I like.
Patriots 7-point favorites at home against the Cleveland Browns. Are we at an inflection point with the New England Patriots? We thought maybe it was there last week when they were laying a big number against the Titans on the road. Now they're laying 7 at home against Cleveland, a Browns team that, Quinshon Judkins has been a revelation for them. Their first-round running back is finally coming into his own. The Patriots, meanwhile, seemingly found a running game last week where it had been non-existent the entire season. But Drake May is balling out right now. It's hard to bet against that kid.
I'm waiting for a clunker from him. I think his style is kind of sputter, spit. Like, it's just, I do think he holds on to the ball way too long. 22 sacks is the second most in the league. He'll give you that explosive, and then he'll take a 10-yard sack. Now, those negative plays haven't cost them in the loss column just yet. They've overcome it. They've played some really bad defenses. This is a good defense. However, very different defense on the road. Clev TA is very popular in the analytics community, put out a graphic this week about Cleveland's home road splits. They are a completely different team away from home. Defensively, allowing 86% of their road opponents to go over their team total since 2023. And their ATS record drops from 63% at home to 19% on the road. Like, this is just a drastically different team. So I think if you're entering with the mindset of this is the best defense the Patriots have faced this year, it's finally time for Drake May to take that step back. I would temper that take a little bit with Cleveland's defense is not as fierce away from home. That doesn't mean that they can't show up, and that doesn't mean that Myles Garrett's probably not the best pass rusher Drake May's seen in his career. I would not be surprised, especially with the Browns offense and just being, in rough shape. I think there's going to be a lot of buzz too in New England, right? They haven't been home in a minute. They're coming off that win against the Bills a couple weeks ago. They've had some nice results. I think there's going to be some positive crowd environment there at Foxborough. It's going to lift this team up a little bit. So I would lean New England, especially under a touchdown. And that New England team total, I mean, I can't get away from that 86% number from the Browns giving up points on the road. So I think that's maybe my best bet in this game.
Wow. All right. I like that. Let's take a look. It should be Patriots team total. Let's see what number we get here. It is
should find a 23.5.
It's 23.5. Yep. Minus 122 to the over. Okay.
That's my best bet in this game. Pats get to 24.
I like it.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
This next game I find fascinating. I don't know. I don't get the spread. I've already given this out as a teaser play, and that is the 49ers at the Texans. Texans 2.5-point favorites. This is up. It was 1.5 yesterday, and now the Texans 2.5-point favorites. I've already teased the 49ers up. I've given this out, as I mentioned, as a teaser play. And we know that the 49ers are certainly banged up, but so are the Texans. Nico Collins is not going to play, so they're going to rely heavily on, Dalton Schultz, likely their tight end, in this spot. I just don't get how the market's telling us these are even teams right now, and with Houston slightly better, I don't see it.
I agree. It is curious, but I would also say that the market tends to be right. Like if I'm and this happens all the time. You're looking at a game, you're like, man, that looks off. I would always err on the side of the market knows more than me. I'm not as smart as the sharpest odds makers in town making these lines. What am I missing? Why am I not getting there on San Francisco? Why is the market not respecting the Niners? Why is the market giving more respect to Houston? I think the key is you would think Houston's defense is going to shut down McCaffrey. And if McCaffrey can't get going, I don't see how the Niners move the ball. Because he has been the bread and butter. On the other side of that equation, we haven't seen the Niners defense really get hurt by no Fred Warner yet. I think at some point you're going to see that rear its ugly head. That loss, to me, hurt more than any of their offensive players. Maybe this is a Woody Marks game. You mentioned Dalton Schultz. I don't think Nico's been playing that well anyways. So maybe this is those Iowa State kids finally have a breakout game. Like the Niners are so banged up. I think the market is telling us eventually this is going to catch up to them when you have cluster injuries at all these spots. I don't hate the teaser, moving it up through both keys, but I would be on Houston here, honestly, especially if you can get a 1, right? The 2 matters a little bit these days with the 2-point conversion stuff. So 1.5, 1 would be kind of my limit here, I think, on Houston. But I do think I'll give the market the benefit of the doubt this week, and I think Houston's got a good performance in them.
What about the idea of Kyle Shanahan going up against the former assistant? Do you think that we favor Kyle Shanahan and the offense being able to understand what DeMeco Ryans is going to present defensively?
It's been a minute. It's been too long. It's been 3-4 years, right? Like I think the year after, I think that matters a little bit more. But these teams have, like the muffin has evolved so far past the stump with DeMeco Ryans as a head coach at this point. I mean, now what is this? This is his 4th year, right? No, 3rd year. Is 3rd year? 3rd year, I think. It's been a minute. I think if this was the year after, I'd put a little more stock in that.
Just looking at some Kyle Shanahan against some coaches. I know he's 1-0 undefeated against Robert Saleh. So that was, former assistant. You're right. You're right. It's the Jets.
And to be fair, I think actually Aaron Rodgers was healthy in that game. That was the one game he played for them in his 2 years.
So I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something, and maybe it's something.
Listen, I don't love the Texans. It's a very hesitant. What does the market know that I don't know? Because you're right. The Niners should be favored in this game, 100%. The Texans have looked awful. They were 0-3. They barely could get out of their way. Short week now, banged up, facing another NFC team. The NFC's been the better conference. Like everything is pointing to San Francisco, yet Houston's favored. So what am I missing?
Yeah. Could also be one of those situations that we often see where, there could have been a release on the Texans. And, these books are on all these calls with these, with these groups.
I think a lot of it too is I don't think the market respects Mac Jones. As much as we might actually like him in the, short term, I don't think the market respects him at all.
Yeah.
And I think I think this is telling us Mac Jones and not Purdy this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another person that the market doesn't respect, and that's Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins are at the Falcons. Atlanta, a 7.5 point favorite right now up on FanDuel over Miami. I don't see any reason to think that Miami's going to turn this around.
No, I wouldn't. Um, the Bijan prop under 90 yards.
Yeah. How is this? How I think
You
it
have
feels
to
like a
bet that.
Tyler Bijan props, Tyler Algier props. Like it just like how is
Yeah.
Miami can't stop the run? Like this is going to be a disaster for them.
Especially if Penix is banged up,
Mhm.
and they lean on the run even more. I think the lost the locker room thing doesn't really matter to me, because these guys are playing for paychecks. I think there's a case to be made that his offensive scheme, like he's walking into the coaching meeting room with a plan, and then he goes and delivers that plan to the team, and the team looks at it like, man, screw you. Like I think there could be some of that, but at the end of the day, this is personnel, guys. Like Tyreek Hill is hurt now, Darren Waller's hurt. They're struggling to run the ball. Their defense is dead last in explosive play rate. Like this is Jimmy's and Joe's, not coaching and smarts.
Yeah.
He's not a leader of men. He doesn't have the ability to drag this team out of the mud and have them overcome this adversity. It's a bad situation, and I think he's gonna get fired probably before the bye, like heading into that bye week. I think it's in week 12. So until then, I think we should fade this Miami team as much as we possibly can.
I thought it was going to happen on Monday, to be honest with you.
They're
I
waiting
really
for the
did.
bye, I think.
Probably makes sense. Makes sense. This and that could be a teaser special. You know, with the Falcons having that money line at -420, the math adds up. If you want to tease them down, certainly from 7.5 to 1.5. With the new teaser pricing.
Oh, I put them in the teaser with Philly this week. That's my teaser this week.
I was about to say Philly is my other teaser leg when I talked about the 49ers here. Philly is a 7.5 point favorite over the Giants. This is the second time these teams are playing in the last 3 weeks. So 2 games in 3 weeks. And here's a trend, Jared, for you. Since 2012, teams in the immediate revenge spot, right? So you lost to a team, you play them 2 weeks later. This is non-playoffs. This is only in the regular season. So obviously these are all division games, right? The favorite that lost that first game, the favorite in the second game, 7-3 ATS in those moments. 7-3.
It's a small sample, but it's a really good spot, right? We talk about this all the time. Spot. Market spots matter more to me, right? The favorite in that situation. Right? It kind of reminds me of the 2-point conversion thing down 14. The odds say you're going to get 1.1 of them, right? Like your odds to hit a 2-point conversion are like 52, whatever, 55%, somewhere in that range. So if you hit the first one, well, then you're cooking with gas. But the odds say you're going to go 1 of 2. You're going to go 1 of 2 here.
2 7.5 point favorites. They're going to lose.
You're going to go 1 and 2. So if you lost the first one, you got to go for the second one. You just, now the math says you would in that scenario. You're not forced to bet the Eagles in this scenario. But again, what's changed in 17 days, Scott? They were a 7.5 point road favorite 17 days ago. What's changed in 2.5 weeks to now they're a 7.5 point home favorite? The answer is nothing. Nothing's changed. I have the same opinion on Jackson Dart. I have the same opinion on the Eagles as a team. They're going to be high. They're going to be low. But at their peak, they are way better than 2 scores at home priced than the Giants. So you just got to swallow it and you got to lay it, or you got to put Philly in a teaser. I think that's really the best way for this one.
100%. Great point. Yeah, nothing's changed in the last 2 weeks. This is the same line that it was. So great point on that. Eagles definitely are the play. Bucks are at the Saints. Tampa now up on FanDuel to a 4.5 point favorite. So we've seen some movement on Tampa here going up against New Orleans. No Mike Evans, obviously, for the Tampa Bay Bucks, but Emeka Egbuka came back last week and actually played pretty well despite being questionable the entirety of the week here. Chris Godwin is still out, so we haven't seen him yet. But I still think that this could be a bounce back spot for the Bucks or to the Saints in the division pull an upset here at home.
So here's my problem with this game. After last week, I vowed 2 things. I will not lay more than 3 with Tampa, and I will not take less than 7 with New Orleans. Well, I'm kind of in no man's land here.
All right, over
I want,
46 and a half.
yeah, right. Like I want to play Tampa here, but
Yeah.
Tampa just has this knack for winning close games, right? When Tampa wins, they win close. When they lose, they can lose big, but when they win close. So I can't lay more than 3 with Tampa. And New Orleans is on the other side, right? If they win, it's a blowout, or if they lose, it's a blowout. So I gotta get more than a touchdown with New Orleans. You just gotta swallow it. You just gotta move on to another game. This frankly is not a great betting game. The injuries also make it pretty tough.
Yeah. Colts are 14.5-point favorites over the Titans. I have a lot of respect for the Indianapolis Colts, Jared, but in a division game, this is way too much to lay here. This feels like the game earlier this season when the Saints were getting a big number against Buffalo, and it was like the obvious spot where you're like, Buffalo's going to hammer them. And New Orleans covered, but they never were close in that game, but they covered, right? This feels like that type of game where Tennessee's not going to win this football game, but Tennessee's probably going to lose by 13. They're probably going to lose by 11. Like, you're over 2 touchdowns in an NFL game is just absurd.
Good prop game. Taylor over, right? Like,
yes.
let's play, let's write the script. Let's write the script. Colts get off to a hot start. Jonathan Taylor breaks a big run. Touchdown, rushing yards over, blah, 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 blah. Cam Ward, Titans have to chase the game. Passing yards over for Cam Ward, very reasonably priced at around 200. Over. Yeah, passing attempts, whatever passing, props over for Cam Ward. And then under passing attempts, under passing props for Daniel Jones, right? You just, instead of laying the big number, the market's telling you, blowout, belt to ass, and I'll be honest, the Indy probably covers because I think the Titans might be that bad and Indy might be that good. They can beat the Chargers by 14. They can certainly beat the Titans by 14. Now, obviously, dynamics have to play into that, turnovers, fluky stuff, but I mean, the Colts are perfectly capable of winning this game by 21, 30 points, kind of like Indy or New England did last week against Tennessee. But if you want to bet this game, write the script and then bet it according to that script, and then you'll get a little more value because the number is already sharpened on Indy, right? 12 now to 14, but it hasn't filtered fully down to the prop market yet. But the number's telling us a very clear picture, Indy belt to ass. So let's build our prop portfolio around that script.
Since the 2021 season, favorites of more than 14 points, 22-1 straight up, 11-11 against the spread.
Yeah, they're going to win, but coin flip if they cover. So let's build the script. Let's build our portfolio around the script of they're going to win the game and be in a positive game script, but they might not cover.
Yes, that is exactly my thoughts on this game. The Dallas Cowboys visit the Denver Broncos. Denver, a 3.5-point favorite. This, another prop game, because I think both running backs have a big game here. We know Dallas is one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, so I think Dobbins has a big game. And then what's better than a revenge storyline, Jared? You got Javonte Williams going up against his former team in the Denver Broncos. I think the focus is going to be on CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and Javonte is going to eat for Dallas in this spot. I love both running backs in this game.
Yeah, I think the running back revenges are tougher because you need the O-lines to block. Denver's D-line's really good, so I like the Denver side of it better. I bet a Dobbins over. I think that I honestly, the Cowboys are in that perfect zigzag spot with Denver, right? Denver win, no cover last week. They probably should have lost. Their ears are going to be perked up. Dallas is off the fat and happy win where they looked really good against the Commanders, but I don't know how much of that was bad Jaden Daniels hurt instead of good Cowboys defense, which hasn't been very good this year. Now they have to go to altitude. I don't like Dallas as much away from their friendly confines as much as I do at home.
Agree. I don't like Dallas outdoors.
Yeah, like I think I got a flat 3 at South Point earlier this week with Denver. I don't know if you could still find that in the market, but to me, that's worthy of a bet, I think, with the Broncos.
I like it. I like it a lot. Speaking of revenge, Aaron Rodgers says there's no avenge. Actually, he goes, I mean, what am I avenging? They paid me a lot of money. So you got the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Green Bay Packers. Packers 3-point road favorites here against Pitt. Feels like a spot where Green Bay is going to go into Pittsburgh and win. All the attention and the storyline is on Aaron Rodgers in this spot, and it feels like that's where it doesn't go the storyline's way. Like
I'll
Sunday
be
Night
honest,
Football.
I like Rodgers' take here. I like downplaying the rivalry. It's been multiple years. You've been on multiple
I
teams. Who
agree.
cares? Who
Yeah.
cares?
I wouldn't care about it. I just think the
Yeah.
Packers are a better football team.
Yes, they are. Number one in explosive play rate on defense. Number two in explosive play rate on offense. The metrics say they should be blowing teams out, but they're 2-4 against the spread this year. So I think Green Bay is kind of one of those teams that plays up and down to their opponent. They'll be perked up facing Rodgers, so they're not going to play down to Pittsburgh like they played down to Arizona, right? Like I just think it's a different element now. It being a primetime game, it being against your former quarterback. I think there'll be some juice here, and it's a short number, right? And I think 3 is fair. My guess is we'll get 3.5. I would assume at some point we'll come off of it. It's begging to come off of it. I think at 3.5 you'll get some solid money on Pittsburgh probably, but I think Green Bay wins the game. I think the Steelers handicap too is going to come down to their defense this year. Like they're bottom 10 defensively. That's crazy to me. 30th in explosive play rate. Like that's not the Pittsburgh defense that I know. So if they're going to be giving up explosives on defense, I don't really think it matters. Rodgers is average. I think that's what the numbers say, but your defense is below average. So I think Green Bay is the better team. You're right.
Yeah, I like Green Bay here on the road. Here's a fun little trend for you. Matt LaFleur in prime time. Okay. Any start time 7:00 or later for head coach Matt LaFleur. 24-13 against the spread.
Yeah, if Green Bay wins, they cover, right? Because it's such a short line. I think if you get 3.5 with Pittsburgh, you can make a case for that being a decent bet. But I think if this stays on 3, you got to play Green Bay or you got to pass.
Yeah. All right, that'll wrap up the NFL preview. As I mentioned, the Chiefs and Commanders play on Monday night, so we'll get into that coming up on Monday's episode. Before we wrap things up, though, here, I know it is a Football Friday, and we do mainly on these episodes only football. This is the NFL version, part 1. The college football version, also with Jared Smith, will come up a little bit later on today, so that'll be available as well. But Jared, it's World Series Game 1 tonight. I mean, I can't end the pod without getting a comment here on the World Series. The Dodgers will be at the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays are going with Trey Yesavage in game number 1. Blake Snell goes for the Dodgers. I've already bet Dodgers minus a game and a half for the series price. I just think they're inevitable. I think they're inevitable. I think this is, I keep saying it, it's just their one glaring weakness that we thought coming into the postseason has now become a strength, which has been the bullpen, because now they're utilizing starters out of the bullpen, and they've been here before. They know how to handle themselves. Blue Jays, incredible comeback win. The Springer home run was amazing. Great moment there to beat the Mariners in game number 7. They are outclassed here by the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers.
Nothing more to add.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers win, and series handicap being you can do minus a game and a half at minus 116 for the Dodgers.
Great bet.
Yeah, Dodgers are going to win this easily.
They're going to be favored in every game.
Oh,
they're going to be favored in every game, and the ones at home, they'll be $2 favorites. Maybe one of the middle games. Maybe if it gets to a game 6, maybe it'll be like minus 130 or something like that, because then the Blue Jays would have won a couple of games, right? They would have won one game at least to get it to a game 6. But I still feel like this is Dodgers all the way.
Yep. So that game 1 will be tonight. Dodgers are minus 154 favorite in Toronto tonight. Blake Snell against Trey Yesavage. Follow Jared on Twitter at Jared Smith Bets. You can follow me at Scott's On Air. We have Football Friday Part 2 coming up. That'll be released a little bit later on this afternoon or this morning. And of course, the newsletter will be emailed to all of you BetterDay.com subscribers. So we will talk to you on the College Football Friday episode coming up a little bit later on today. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.